Hey guys, welcome. It's King of Charmanders here, and we have a very unique dragon thingy it's so cute. I don't know why it doesn't, you can't see its eyes until it like evolves in Hydreigon, but you know, it's okay. Dino, or Deino, is extremely adorable. It's one of the strongest Pokemon in the Little Cup because its typing allows it to be, its typing basically walls a lot of things. And it has incredibly powerful stats. As you see, it maxes out near 500. Now, the really bad thing about Deino is that Deino has, like, if you see Charm run, or if it gets locked into Charm, it basically loses. So that's the problem with this Pokemon. It's extremely powerful, and because of Dragon Breath, it's extremely oppressive. It will deal a ton of damage as long as you keep it away from fairies. But anyways, there's a lot of things in this cup that Dino can actually, like, take on just because it has Dragon Breath. But as long as you keep it away from its weaknesses, it's very, very strong. And it does have plenty of resistance here. The reason why it's so much better than Dratini, the other eligible dragon for this cup that has Dragon Breath, is because it can resist confusion, which means it can beat the most powerful mon in the Little Cup, which is Bronzor. Something that beats Bronzor, deals an insane amount of damage, and it also has really sweet moves in Body Slam and Crunch, so it's incredibly powerful. What sucks is that, one, if you have the shiny, I hate you more than anything in this entire world because it's super rare, but it's super cute and super cool, and it's green! It's so powerful, and like, if you use shiny Deino, you're going to be hated a lot. Well, finding one underneath 500 CP is a chore. You can't hatch one. Unfortunately, if you do hatch it, it goes above 500 CP. So you have to get this, you have to catch in the wild or have one traded to you. That's the only way you're going to get it. Or get it from a research task. Because research task Deino actually goes just below the threshold for 1500. Yeah, for 500. So like, it'll be it's, like I said, very hard to obtain. But if you do have one, it's extremely powerful for the Little Cup. Alrighty, so this is how to catch Deino. Yes, I finally looked up a video on how to say Deino, so instead of Dino and Deino, I don't really care about the pronunciation, but it's called Deino. So Deino is the second most powerful Pokemon in this cup overall. It does come pretty close to everything else. Of course, second to Bronzor, however, it can beat Bronzor. Deino is extremely powerful with a battle rating of 569, which is the most important thing of this thing. That's all you need to know, it's 569. Anyways, Deino is incredibly powerful, and the reason why it's so strong is because of Dragon Breath. It has a very powerful and spammy moveset. Dragon Breath, Body Slam, and Crunch. This thing is extremely strong. It's also one of the few, like, out of one of the three, it also beats Bronzor. So Bronzor loses to Deino. So Deino is actually able to beat Bronzor just because you resist confusion, which is a pretty big deal. And yeah, that's why you beat, yeah. So Deino is so strong, is super powerful. Deino covers Bronzor's weaknesses, it basically covers Bronzor's weaknesses. But Deino's super strong just because it's very powerful in like all positions. An 80 rating, an 80 close rating, and 80 as a switch, Deino isn't a bad thing to use for this cup. Now the problem with Deino is that you kind of need to keep it away from charm users, just because if you look at what Cottony does to Deino, you get charmed down really hard, so you never want to get locked into a Cottony. Or any charmer for that matter, because you will die really fast. Now, that's why Deino is kind of limited in this cup. Yes, it's one of the most powerful mons in the game, however, because of the fact that you lose super hard against charmers and against Wynot, you might want to be careful about using it. Other than that, it's worthy of the investment. As you see, it's in the top 5 of the leads And it's also one of the top 5 closers. In fact, it's number 2 in the closer, and as a switch, it also ranks at number 3. It's incredibly powerful in all positions, and it's not surprising to see why. If you are Deino, as long as you're able to avoid Deino's weaknesses, it's super strong, and it will kill a lot of things. Again, it does cover Bronzor's weaknesses, and Bronzor also covers Deino's weaknesses. So it's these two, this core really complements each other really well. And also, there's no core that beats these two together. So there's no core breaker that directly beats Bronzor and Deino together. So that's what makes these two really strong if you pair Bronzor and Deino together, which gives Deino great synergy. Alright, behold Deino versus the Little Cup meta. As you see here, we got the Little Cup, we got Deino right here with Dragon Slam, Body Slam, and Crunch. I also put the top 20 with my own little meta cup. Custom, because you can't find it, so all I did was just drag the top 20 and put it into a little quick fill file. And now here is your 2 shield scenario. As you see, you do beat Bronzor. You beat Bronzor with Deino. It's very strong against Bronzor. But as you see here, 69 seconds. As you see, Bronzor you only lose against Bronzor if you're down a shield or down 2 shields. So it makes it very powerful against this overpowered pick. Now, like I mentioned, you want to be careful. Look how you die against Cottony. Cottony will absolutely delete you. If you get locked into Cottony, you practically lose. Well, you're going to lose in all shield scenarios, and you lose very strongly, so run. You also lose against Why Not. You lose against Shelmet. Now, like I mentioned, the good thing is you actually beat, like, the weaknesses that played Bronzor. You will beat Shadow Stunky. You beat Barboach. You also beat Vulpix. Well, Vulpix technically doesn't beat Bronzor, but it does have a strong matchup, a semi-strong matchup against it. So it beats a lot of elemental things. It also beats it. It also, even though it loses against like Cubone, it's not a super hard loss, and it defeats a majority of meta. Out of the 20 we see here, you only lose against 5, 6, 7. Out of 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. I can't do math. 6, 7. 6 out of the 20 picks here in the meta, you beat 7. You beat 13 of the 7 of the 20, which is really good. So you beat over half, which is a really great ratio. As long as you could stay away from its weaknesses. Again, Deino and Bronzor are a very powerful core. As you see in a 2 shield, it does lose pretty heavy against some meta relevant picks like of course opposing Deinos, Why Nots, and Cottonies. You can probably see some Shelmets and Whoopers in here. And it's going to be really hard to find a seal, but if you do lose against it just because of Ice Shard. However, these situations might change in the 1 shield. So we're going to switch to the 1 shield here. And in the 1 shield, we flip any matchups in the 1s? We do. So we are able to beat Whooper in the 1s. We still lose against Shelmet, that's okay, and we still lose against Seal. But we do pick up a matchup with Whooper. And it's very... Wait, you lose against Igglybuff? Really? I actually didn't know this. So Igglybuff beat you just because of a double wild charge? Wow. So you lose the 1s against Igglybuff. So you won't win the 1s against... you'll lose the 1s against Igglybuff. So you flip the Igglybuff matchup, but you're able to take the Whooper matchup, which is... I would say Whooper is a lot more of a worry than Igglybuff because you're not going to see a lot of wild charge Igglybuffs, I promise you. Now in the 0 shields, that's one thing. In the 0s, does anything change? In the 0s, you still lose against Shelmet, Seal, Cottony, Why Not, and Deino itself if you don't have better IVs. You also lose against Drifloon and against Hoot Hoot. So you do pick up some losses down shields. I'm guessing you lose against Drifloon just because Icy Wind wipes you. But you should win against Drifloon in a lot of scenarios. As you see, you do lose in the 0s only because this Icy Wind does take you out. So just be very careful about that. So, overall, Deino, from first impression, after seeing all the shield scenarios, it can be powerful. It beats a lot of the meta, and it covers Bronzor, but just be careful, because it can be targeted as well. If we have shield advantage, you only lose against Cottony. So, giving it shield advantage is extremely strong. It's really good, because you only lose, as you see, you only lose against Cottony. Now, it's the same thing in the 2 shield because Cottony is just so oppressive, but like I said, you'll beat everything in the top 20 as long as you have shield advantage. As long as you have shield advantage, you'll beat anything in the top 20. So a strategy you can do is just go to the 1 and the 0, is just force the 1 to 0s and win that way. That might change in the 2 to 1s because even if you're up a shield, as you see here, you'll still lose against Why Not and Cottony. But you'll, out of the 20, beating 3 in the 2-to-1s, that's not bad. So if you're able to take your opponent's shield, you still win a lot of comfortable matchups. So it's very, well, it's really dependent on like how you play and how everything realigns. But Deino's still very powerful in the Little Cup, as you see here. Now, along with the Matrix, here's a multi-battle. Let's see how Deino does against the majority of the meta if we do this. So we're gonna go in Little League. We're gonna put the Little Cup over here. We're gonna put the 2 shield against Deino, and we're just gonna let the sim fly and see what happens. So when we fire it up, you win 83% of your matchups, and that's 43 losses. So as you see here, you lose hard against Charmers. Why not? Alolan Sandshrew, and that seems to be it. But like Ice types and Charmers, as long as you, well, that's just Dragon's weaknesses in general, but keep them away from it, and you could be okay. In the 1-to-0, in the 2-to-1s, in the 1 shield, Deino, does Deino's chances improve? Not really. It stays about the same, 83%. In the 0s, Deino, I'm sure, loses some scenarios because some things do allow it to wipe out, 76%. So, Deino's the strongest as long as it has shield. So, as long as you have Deino with a shield, it's very powerful. As you see here, with a shield, you only have 4 losses, and that's against Cottonee, Mincino, Sandshrew, and Why Not. So, as long as you have a shield, you beat a lot of the meta. If you're up 2 shields, you'll lose some matchups, but the only matchup you lose is against Charmers. You lose against Charmers and Why Not. So Why Not and Charmers are Deino's big problem along the Ice type. So it's not completely invincible. There are things that can beat it. In the 2-to-1, story changes. As you see, 88%. But as it's still very powerful. Deino is an incredibly powerful mon that will serve you very well in the Little Cup. So is Deino worth powering up for the Little League or Little Cup? Well, I give it an 8 out of 10 out of a rating. It's usable, but it's hard to get and it's expensive. It's really good. It's really good, usable, but it's really hard and expensive to get. As you see here, if you look at the overview in itself, it's very safe, consistent. So it's very powerful, safe, consistent. Doesn't have a like overall coverage or bulk. Well, a lot of things in this cup are going to be F, but it's very decent. Very good. As you see here, it's able to beat a lot of the meta. Only having threats to Ice Pokemon, Why Not itself, because it punches you to death, and Connie and Mincino. You also lose against Shelton. So it does have some weaknesses in this meta. Well, everything has a weakness in this meta, but like I said, there's Deino is still really freaking powerful. If you pair with Bronzor, this core is extremely powerful. As you see, this alone the coverage is ridiculous. As you see, you don't have any holes. And there's nothing in this meta, except for Deino, which kind of is interesting, because when you face Deino on Deino action. But other than that, these two cover each other very well. There's no bond that beats this core. Deino and Bronzor are an incredibly powerful core. Like I said, paired with Bronzor, this thing is extremely strong. So I would definitely use it. If you have these two together, and as long as you can avoid, yeah, if you have these two together, like, it'll be very hard to take you down. Because it puts such an enormous amount of shield pressure on your opponent. Shield pressure, bulk, and just combination of, like, coverage. They cover each other super well. And that's the video, guys. I hope you guys really love your Deinos. Like I said, you can't hatch it. It has to be from research or from the wild. That's why I give it an 8 out of 10. Not available. Very hard to get. Is it worth the dust and the candy? Likely not. Zweilous is very good for Great League. However, Deino is very expensive. If you really want to double move it, it's going to give you a great plus in this cup as long as you can. If your opponent doesn't have a Cottonee, or if they don't have a seal or anything like that, you're looking pretty good. But Deino, Body Slam still gives it a lot of coverage because Body Slam, it'll give you shields and it deals 5 damage with Dragon Breath. Is it worth it? You can afford it? Yes. And with Bronzor, like I said, likely the most powerful core in the Little Cup. Guys, like this video, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video. And have fun with the Little Cup coming soon.